Welcome back to Origami Snowman. My name is Matt. I'm going to finish up my video series. It's not a series, it's 2 videos about horrible, horrible things that happen in children's books. Who doesn't love harming children? Okay, let's get this out of the way here and now. I don't want to talk too much about it. You guys all know it, and right now it's very problematic, and it probably will remain so. And as much as I can speak to this series, I won't. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, he cremates a man with his bare hands. Okay, that's in a children's book. Now, let's talk about The Hobbit. This is a children's book. Yeah, it's awful. The main character has to sit and listen to 3 trolls go on and on and on about how they want to prepare him and his friends to eat. Do they want to boil them? Do they want to skin them? Do they want to roast them? Do they want to smash them? And, what are they going to do? He has to sit there and listen to all of this horrible talk about how he's about to be eaten. Oh, and then there's a war and a bunch of people die. But children's book, James and the Giant Peach. This is a delightful, lovely, lovely story. But all the worst things happen to people in this book. First of all, James's parents die. They are eaten by a rhinoceros that has escaped from the zoo. It gets one sentence and it's over and done and moving on. And then James has to go live with his 2 horrible aunts, Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker, and they are cruel. They are so mean to him. They don't give him any toys. They beat him, or maybe they threaten to beat him. I don't know that they actually ever get to the point where they beat him. They do starve him, and they force him to do chores, and they don't let him go play with other children. They're cruel to this child. But then they die, and everyone cheers. Literally, they are rolled over by the titular giant peach, and all of the characters who are inside the peach, they shout out, "Oh, there was Sponge. Whoop, there was Spiker," and they all cheer. They're thrilled with the death of these 2 mean old ladies. That's a children's book. Oh, boy, howdy. I talked about this one. Treasure Island, the main character, he is threatened with death multiple times. All the characters are threatened with death multiple times. And then he, like a hero, straight up murders a dude point blank with a brace of pistols, shoots him dead in the chest, and then looks down from the mast of the ship through the clear water, and he sees the guy's dead body laying on the bottom of the bay. Children's book. Since we're talking about Robert Louis Stevenson, it's Robert Louis Stevenson. Kidnapped. It's a story about a boy whose father dies tragically and leaves everything to him, and he goes to live with his uncle, but he's kidnapped and taken away to be murdered, but he's not murdered. He's kind of just goes on an adventure. And then he finds out that his uncle hired these guys to kidnap him so his uncle would inherit everything. Children's book. Stuart Little. It's about a boy. Now, okay, listen. Let's talk about the movie versus the book. In the movie, Stuart is a mouse. In the book, he's not a mouse. He's a little boy who looks exactly like a mouse. That distinction is made very clear in the book. But the Littles have a cat named Snowbell who thinks it is an absolute disgrace that one of his masters looks so much like a mouse. And he can't eat him. He can't. He's part of the family. But he has some friends who could eat him. So the family cat conspires with another stray to eat Stuart. So Stuart has to escape. Actually, hang on. No. How does that work? No. They conspired. They find a bird. They find a sick bird. They nurse her back to health. Her name is Margalo. The stray is going to eat the bird. That's what it is. And then the bird catches wind of this and flies away. And Stuart thinks that's right. Stuart then leaves to go chase Margalo to find her and bring her home. By the way, the story that part of the story is never resolved. The story ends with him on the road to find his friend. And I always thought there should have been a sequel, but I don't know that there was. I don't think there was. And I'm not sure if maybe E.B. White passed away before he could finish it. And they were like, you know what? Just send it. Just send it. Great book, by the way. Read it. I read it many times, and I kind of forgot how that all played out. one of the more horrifying things I have ever read in a children's novel is in the first Percy Jackson book, The Lightning Thief. So Percy, I don't know why, he comes home from summer camp with Medusa's head. I don't know. That's not a souvenir, guys. And his mother uses Medusa's head to turn Percy's stepfather and his poker buddies into statues, which she then sells, earning herself an undue reputation as a great sculptor. What in the world? That is a children's book. That's crazy. That is nuts. You don't do that. You don't do that. Now we're getting real old, real classic stuff. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain, and its companion novel, Huckleberry Finn, also by Mark Twain. Now, these are old titles, and it uses a lot of racial slurs, and that is never okay. However, given the age, given the era in which these were written, and given the tone, it was used, this particular slur is used repeatedly to kind of highlight the backwardsness of the culture. But these are books that we read in school. Like, in the 90s, in the 1990s, these were books that we read in English class. And we didn't pull punches, you know, it was designed to give us an understanding of like how deep the bigotry and the racism went. And on top of all that, there are many, many people who would like to have seen Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn dead. In fact, in Huck Finn, that's kind of one of the plot points. So, children's books. And I'm going to share one last one. And the implications in this one are thick. They're thick. Roald Dahl, The Witches. Okay. This entire book is haunting. It's sad and scary and terrifying. There is a story about a little girl who gets trapped in a painting by the witches. Witches, in the story, they hate children and they want to do horrible, awful things to them. And this little girl is trapped in the painting. Okay. That's so sad and so upsetting. But the main character, and I cannot remember his name, the main character and his grandmother, he's being raised by his grandmother, they decide that they are going to devote their lives to putting an end to the witches. They're going to stop the witches. And at some point, very near the end, the little boy is turned into a mouse. Well, the mouse, he can still help his grandma put an end to the witches. And he doesn't mind so much being a mouse because mice don't live very long, but neither do grandmothers. And he doesn't want to live without his grandmother. What? That is so sad. That is so upsetting. It is a children's book. It's a nice little sweetie time, nighttime story. Kiss, kiss, smooch, smooch, sweet dreams. Grandma's gonna die soon. Wow. So anyway, what kind of kid stories did you like when you were a kid? The kind that kept you up at night crying, or the kind that taught you your alphabet or shapes, or I don't know what kids read. Anyway, these are mostly just the examples that I had on my bookshelf. So I know there are other horrifying examples out there. Please share your horrifying children's book examples. I would love to hear more. In fact, I'm always on the lookout for more recommendations. I love children's stories because they do tend to be a little more concise and a little more simple, and they're always so much fun. I don't need a lot of realism in my books. I just like a good story with good characters. So a lot of these are exactly that. But yeah, please share your thoughts with me. I'd love to hear them. Anyway, I appreciate you guys all to pieces. I love you to death. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the very next video. Goodbye.